This is the Blackwatch Report, the ultimate Path to Pro podcast, covering news around the scene, breaking down key matches, and interviewing your favorite players, coaches, and personalities from contenders and open division. Now, here are your hosts, Thorn Rain and Kyle Wynn.
And welcome back for another installment of the Blackwatch Profiles. I'm your host, Thorn Rain, and with me, as always, my co-host, Mr. Kyle Wynn. How are you this evening, Kyle?
Fantastic. It doesn't feel like evening because it's 3 o'clock, but
Those times.
I wouldn't know. I haven't seen the outside all day.
Oh, you're lucky. It's snowing where I'm at. But
no way.
With us tonight, we have a very special guest going into playoffs literally in like 24 hours. I believe they start tomorrow. Maid, the head coach for Second Wind. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I'm doing pretty well.
Actually,
just waking up. It's 10 a.m. It's not snowing here, unfortunately.
Yeah, the last I saw, you posted something on Twitter that it was like 110 or something like that where you are.
It was not nice. My aircon decided it didn't want to work either. Not a pleasant experience, but you do what you can.
And that is some intense heat down there. Yeah, I'm in Ohio, so like low 100s are the worst, and we all like melt when it hits like 99. So I couldn't even imagine what you have to go through.
Yeah.
But to get us started off here, Kyle, why don't you start off with our first question here?
So we, as part of the High Noon podcast family, we have to steal their number one starting question, which is, what is your gaming origin story? Some people will go all the way back to play on N64 and NES and stuff, but if you want to kind of not be that lengthy with it and just kind of say what was your first competitive game and what got you to Overwatch?
Actually, my first game was my first competitive game, actually, so I get to combine both of those.
That's cool.
So I was one of the TFT players who came across with the release of Overwatch. I ended up playing Overwatch for a year and decided I was getting a bit old to be doing this. I didn't really have the energy or the time like most teenagers do to sort of grind out the game for 8 hours a day. So I decided to go into sort of a staff role rather than having to play so much rank.
Cool.
So our next bit here. So for you, having coached for Australian team, a North American team, and a European team, all within Overwatch, did you do all of your coaching from Australia, or did you move around at all? What kind of was it like if you stayed in Australia? Because I mean, we know that it's 10 a.m. right now. So your time zones would be a little weird. How was that affecting your coaching across those three regions?
So I originally did AU coaching for about a year, and that was fine. So that night, but my first season of international coaching, I coached a European contenders team called Singularity, who are actually also a full Danish team, and they spoke Danish in scrims. Wow. And I'd have to wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. and listen to Danish language scrims for about 4 hours, and definitely putting me in for deep end.
Yeah,
rough.
Don't recommend doing that.
Yeah. Did you speak any Danish at all, or were you listening to interesting callouts, or mainly just sticking on positioning and stuff like that?
You begin to notice particular words or callouts, and I tended to focus on that. But no, I can't speak Danish at all. I know one word and nothing else.
All right.
So,
next question. Oh wait.
Oh no, go ahead.
More? Okay. The next question we have here is, what kind of drew you to coaching? You kind of mentioned a little bit about the age. Was that kind of it, or did you always know when you go into this I could probably coach teams with this, or was that kind of something that you realized as you played a little bit more and you're maybe I don't want to grind this game 12 hours a day?
It was definitely something where I no longer felt I could be competitive as a player. Because I'm almost 25 now. Well, I am 25. I'm turning 26 in May. So I was definitely getting older. I just couldn't keep up, but I still wanted to remain competitive and enjoy something that I enjoy doing. So I originally sort of moved over to be a VOD recorder, and it sort of grew from there because you watch scrims, you get like more insights into the game, you want more responsibilities. I think I felt like insecure about just being a VOD recorder, so like I tried to like really grind watching VODs and having knowledge about like what my players would do to sort of grow myself as a person.
Okay.
Yeah, I fully understand that getting old, considering I'm like 10 years older than you. That's why I do a podcast about the game, because I can't even do VOD reviews, because I can't keep up with the stuff at the pace that it plays out at. So instead, I just sit here and I talk about it. So our next question here is coaching currently a full-time job, or are you taking any classes? Do you have like regular 9 to 5? Like where are you at with your coaching as your career right now?
So last year I did part-time university and coaching as well. And this year I'm taking a break, and hopefully I can, do coaching full time and possibly get relocated. It's like that's the goal. But yeah, I was studying plus coaching.
Okay. And it's, getting into playoffs as an unsigned team is definitely a good way to get possibly picked up by one of the many academy teams. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. There's, I think, 3 new academy teams who could be formed, plus the Houston and LA Valiant who could get one. So there's lots and lots of possibilities for top teams like Second Wind or First Gen to get picked up by an org. And so it seems like you're close.
The last trials team that we saw kind of go on the run like you and First Gen are doing, it became an academy team following season. So best of luck on that front. That'd be a huge get right there.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Next up, we have kind of an interesting question. So Second One has fought through trials twice and may have to do it again depending on how the whole academy thing, whether or not we have a bunch of academy teams coming in or they don't have as many, so you maintain your placement. What are your thoughts knowing that no matter how well your team does, you could still get relegated and have to go back through trials again? Like, does that annoy you, or is it like it is what it is kind of thing?
Well, actually, if we make the grand final, we're actually guaranteed a spot next season.
Really?
So we're gonna do that. Just gotta go through Fusion University undefeated team. 3 seasons running just to gain our spot in our contenders. But no, it's frustrating. It feels frustrating that like the league has contenders has like two opposing goals where like it's half a franchise league and it's like half like a competitive league, and so you have like conflicting interests because like they obviously have to keep like the academy teams happy, but that means that we as sort of like non-signed teams get like a very hard time of it.
Yeah. It makes you work extra hard just to be on the same level or considered in the same way.
And not to mention, playoffs for all regions are starting right now, and they're running an streamer event, kind of butting heads, pulling viewers away. That's just a personal issue I have now with Play Overwatch. Not a huge fan of them doing that during which I did the research. This is the 3rd season. We've only had 3 seasons where they have ran an event where streamers get promoted during contenders finals. So somebody at Blizzard, tell them to step their promotions game up, because they're really kind of screwing over the tier 2 a little bit more.
I feel like it was probably like different departments there that sort of dealt with that. Like obviously it's frustrating, but I think it's more like miscommunication than really sort of like some malicious hatred of tier 2.
Yeah. So
definitely.
Our next bit here is so there's kind of a couple really big topics floating around on the competitive Reddit, Twitter, and just within the community. So the first one here is what are your thoughts on the non-academy teams having players and coaches signed under contract mostly for buyout purpose?
I think that's absolutely ludicrous. I don't understand how anyone could think that like these unsigned teams with no backing would expect their players to sort of like opt into sort of like bad faith, buyouts, which don't actually benefit them. Like me as a coach, I'd never ever sign like a contract where like I'm not getting paid. I wouldn't expect my players to do so either.
Awesome. It's good. It's good that you have that mentality, and that you have also the players that you coach that you could share that mentality with, and that they would most likely trust you and not make an awful decision. So that's good, right? Somewhere Ryan Morrison is smiling right now.
Yes.
Next is kind of the other big question that goes around the community over and over, and it's like mainly a thing the last month is, what are your thoughts on hero bans for Overwatch League or for contenders, where I think maybe if we're going to see it, we'd see it tried out in contenders first?
Okay, so I personally don't think you need hero bans of 30 or 29 heroes in the game. It's 29, I think
it's 28, 29 is in the works, or 30 is in the works.
Yeah, anyway, there's IMO, like, not enough heroes in the game to really do hero bans, and I don't think the discussion is, like, worth having unless, like, it's going to completely change for everyone. Like, I think, like, having these tournaments with hero bans when contenders still isn't hero bans, it's still not hero bans as, like, you, because no one's going to adopt it unless everyone does.
Right.
So then, this one is more of a personal question, because watching contenders, I know what I call him because I read his. But do you call him Fried Winner or Fried Wiener?
We mostly call him Fried, but his name is actually Fried Wiener.
Ah, okay. I knew it, and it was just a little pet peeve because I kind of figured they were being a little politically correct on the stream, and they kept calling him Fried Winner, and I was like, no, man is a fried wiener.
I'd also suggest frdwnr. It's another good one.
What was that?
Ford
Frdwnr.
Like the owner of a Ford car.
Yeah. That is, I actually like that better than Fried Winner, that's for sure. Fordowner, that's hilarious. I love that.
All right, so now we will move into the team section, and this is one of my questions I really wanted to know. So, coming into, or like out of last season, Second Wind, I don't think won a single map, and now you are, I think, number 4 overall, number 5 overall out of both groups. 4. What happened? What was the major like paradigm shift with Second Wind? Was it because I think you came on right around that time, right? Was it? Do you think it was literally just you as a coach bringing kind of order to this group, or was it that plus Goats? What do you think really turned things around after the season?
All right, so first thing, like Second Wind last season did win maps. They had a very high win rate on Rialto.
Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, 3 maps. Yeah, I remember.
They kept winning Rialto after it didn't matter.
Yeah, I remember that.
But no, what changed is there are no players returning from last season, and no coaching staff. It is entirely a new team.
Right, I missed that. That makes sense. Okay. So, did you pick the team, or were you brought in once the team was already kind of?
I was there as part of the process, but it was a joint effort. I wouldn't say that I alone like chose to play.
Right. Okay. But you helped kind of find, yeah, I guess the whole.
Yeah. I wouldn't fair to say it's like I'm the defining factor that it's made it a better team this season. I think like the players as a team have done like the most to get us where we. I'm super proud of them.
Right. Yeah, the parts of the whole make Second Wind what it is today, not 1, 2.
Yeah, exactly.
So now our next bit here is, we saw just a couple weeks ago that there was a departure from the team. Was Kaluj leaving a mutual agreement, or was this the team kind of wanting to step away? What kind of happened? Because Kaluj has kind of had a history within around contenders.
Okay, so funny story there. I went to sleep, And sometime during the night, Kalush decided to post that he wanted to boost again on Twitter. And when I woke up, he'd been kicked from the team.
Oh wow, it was that quick.
It was entirely just like him like being dumb on Twitter. And I mean, he's still like a good friend of the team. Like we still like him. He's just
I see him in
a huge
Discord.
troll, and you can't keep him on like that.
Yeah,
that makes sense because Blizzard's really kind of pushing for that to kind of be squashed out of. We're still seeing bans for people that have done it in the past as they get signed into the league. So it makes sense to kind of just step away from that whole area there.
Next question is again one of the other, everyone has got to talk about it, is pretty significant balance changes coming to the PTR. Some people are saying it's going to be one thing, some people are saying it's another thing. Some people are saying, what's the point in even speculating? We'll just have to play it out and see what comes. Where do you stand on the new balance changes?
Okay, so like I enjoy the sort of speculation. I think I said something on Twitter about it, but yeah, it's definitely going to like change stuff a lot. I think like the armor changes are really, really big and sort of like taking Brick outside the meta, as well as like the 2-second like Diva Matrix cooldown, which is absolutely huge. Like the window for people to get like damage in or exploit that is massive, and it punishes divas so hard.
Yeah, just with the armor nerf, almost everyone is going to get 2 extra points of damage per bullet. You know, the tanks. And in a tank meta, maybe you're not going to want to have a whole line of armor just sitting there taking larger amounts of burst damage. I really can't wait to actually see some of the pros and semi-pros get their hands on it and do scrims or something on the PTR.
And so I guess I would assume you guys are just scrimming on the tournament realm, playing on the newest patch for playoffs. So I would assume maybe haven't done any PTR scrims yet or anything like that?
No, we haven't scrimmed live and we haven't scrimmed PTR. We're still on 1.30, which doesn't have like the Brick Shield change.
Right.
So stuff's a bit different.
But there is new Ashe in, right? So Ashe is unlocked. Do you think that'll be even a remote thought, or if it's, you know, maybe on Route 66 for 20 seconds, or do you think that like it's going to be mainly what we've been seeing?
I think it's going to be mainly goats. I've seen certain teams like experiment it, but it's a very situational hero. Goats is still as oppressive as it was in like 1.29, or sort of like what you saw during group stages of play.
Yeah, definitely.
So prior to the start of the season, just looking in, knowing the dominance that is Fusion University, looking at the roster of XL2, was there anyone specifically that you guys were kind of worried about facing off against within your group, or was it just a, you know, put your head down and barrel through and not really worry about any one specific team?
I honestly, like, off memory, I don't think we were particularly super scared of anyone. I remember like there were rumors that like Envy were very, very good pre-season, but nothing we were super worried about. Honestly, like our goal was to make playoffs. Like we didn't think we'd go for one or like be this high in the rankings. We were just like really focused on just like winning those games we needed to make playoffs.
I have the next one. Yeah, so this one comes from Shroudov, who's one of our very valuable supporters. He asked, losing Karkar mid-season, did that like really affect the team? Did that like kind of throw a wrench in your system here? Because he was
week 4.
Week 4, yeah. He left, and then that was when you guys won against XL2, and then the next week you guys lost to NRG. So was his departure substantial enough to really cause that loss,
okay,
or was there other stuff involved as well?
The thing with like the NRG match was like they're a very good team, so I don't want to take anything away from them because they did win the match fair and square, and like I respect them immensely for doing that. But we actually didn't scrim between the the XL2 match and the NRG match just because we had people on holiday. So like we were trying to adjust to a new player who hadn't scrimmed with us.
Okay.
That makes a so this kind of plays off of what you were saying there. What do you think is the team's strongest points, and where do you guys think you could tighten up going into the playoffs, knowing that you've got kind of a an uphill battle after the quarterfinal?
I think just like tightening some of our sort of like mechanical micro play instead of combo usage. I think we got like a lot of traction during the regular season just off like being able to like adapt to like the general idea of goats sooner than other teams, but teams have learned how to play goats and it's a lot harder for us now. So it's just about us like also tightening up our game in the same way that other teams are as well.
Oh, go ahead.
Now, we're kind of going off of your strengths and what you think you can work on there. Going into the XL2 match was kind of like the catalyst everyone was looking at. You guys were 3-0 going in. They were 3-0. One of you guys were going to come out with like first loss, and they were kind of your hump to get over. Do you think that your strengths just pushed you guys over that? Because I mean, XL2 is like they're one of the top tiers. I mean, I would put them in the S tier with Fusion University, and you guys did a phenomenal job against them. How I guess kind of how was it going into that match, knowing that they were kind of the top dogs in your?
I don't even think they were the top dogs in our group. I actually wasn't particularly scared of the XL2. I always knew we had like the better DPS combo for this match that was going to take us over the line against them.
Interesting.
Not to say like they're not a good team. It's just
right.
I never really had this sort of like fear of them that I think people expected, the group to be stomped by them and stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it's a battle of trials teams for you guys going up against first gen. In the quarterfinals, both teams are former GOATS members, and so does this hold any extra little bits of meaning, or is it just? I mean, it is technically your first playoffs as well as a team. So yeah, does the fact that there's like kind of members of the same team split off now, does that kind of have a little bit of extra motivation behind the team, or is that not really something you think about?
So I think our only member is Frill. I don't think Frill's actually talked about like any kind of dynamic. For me at least, sort of like the rivalries, or sort of like the matchups there, and the fact that we're both like unsponsored trial teams, and sort of like whoever wins this match is like top 4, and that means a huge amount in terms of like marketing themselves for next season to an organization.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's going to. Oh, what was that, Kyle?
Yeah, we have a couple of community questions. We're pulling some from the chat as well because we're a little bit ahead on time, but we'll ask this one and then kind of go into a couple ones that I'll pull from chat if that's okay.
So Flux Punk on Twitter wanted to know, with Goomba coaching on the Boston Uprising and yourself both heading NA contender squads, it seems there's something about Aussie coaches that has become a hot commodity in the Overwatch scene. Do you think there's any reason you guys have seen such success, and do you have any solid cunning coaching tips for him?
I think, okay, so you're also forgetting Face. He's assistant coach for NRG, so there's a third Australian there and NA contenders. But it's weird. I've never understood why there's proportionally so many of us Australian coaches in NA. It's just weird to me. I don't actually have any kind of reasoning about like why it might be. And there's sort of like no cunning tips or tricks there that could really help anyone. I'd say like being an Australian just makes it easy to work under hard conditions because you're so used to it compared to sort of like NA or EU or Korea. Like everything's harder in a small region. And I respect like people who like, you know, compete or like put up results from those regions like way more.
Okay. And then a couple of chat questions that we have. First off, Intelgra wants to know how you deal with stress.
Midday naps. Like scrim, just nap for a couple hours, and then I go do my theory stuff in the evening.
How early do you wake up first? Because it used to wake up at like 3 or whatever. Do you still wake up at like kind of? I guess you. Cause
I
it
wake
seems like
5:30, 6 a.m. just so I can get like an hour or two of odds in before scrim.
Okay. So one of the questions we did have was like on the times, and we already kind of touched on that with, I mean, how difficult it was to coach Singularity from almost the opposite side of the planet. But yeah, we have another question here from Core KO_R.
Yeah, he wants to know what are your guys' predictions for playoffs? So Core, is that, do you want all of our predictions? Or do you want to know where
hear
May?
Ours, you could go last episode. It should be out today.
Yes, it posted today. We actually spoke about it last night with our joint review, season review with the casters, Boopasaurus and Ham Tornado. They were on last night to do our recap. We talked a little bit about the playoffs, so definitely check out ours on that episode. And Maid, what do you think the other teams are going to be looking like? Who do you think is going to advance, other than obviously Second Wind?
I won't talk about our side of the bracket.
Okay.
But it's what? ATL versus Uprising? No, ATL versus
NRG
and XL2 versus
Uprising. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think XL2 and ATL will go forward, and I think ATL will be in the grand final. I'm going to make a prediction there. I think they're going to be in the grand final, probably against Fusion Uni, but we would like to be there as well.
That's
that's
a close match. It seems like you guys have a nice warm up too, because like first gen is like pretty good, but they're definitely on your end. It seems pretty beatable, but then Fusion University is like like at that point, if you guys can make it to finals and you've beat Fusion University, which is a huge thing, I feel like Atlanta would be just kind of a little bit of a step down, I guess. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is very different, but that will be a legendary moment in and of itself that you bring down Fusion University. So
Yeah.
we're looking for it. We're interested to see, especially if has it been officially confirmed that Karkar's on FU?
He's on their roster on the contenders.
Right. He was added to the contenders.
That's good enough, yeah. So I guess at that point, there's going to be a little bit of "you should have never left us," emotion behind there. And then last question here, Simon OW wants to know about a new calendar. You have a new calendar or something.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if this is a meme question or if this is a real thing.
It's definitely a meme question, and I'm not allowed to show that calendar on anything. It would definitely be someone's career.
Okay.
All right, interesting. And we have another meme question that just came in from Intelgra. So who's your favorite player? This is like picking your child. Like
yeah, they'd be okay. I'm gonna go with the cop out answer. They're all my favorite children.
That's a good papa.
Good one.
You can't choose favorites. You can't do me like that.
That's fair. Unless we have anything else from chat, I think that'll about wrap it up. Last minute, last second chance here, chat. If you have anything. Horse sashimi. What? I don't even know what that means. But whatever. Best horse sashimi place. Oh, the question about Mir. I was wondering about this because on Wikipedia, Mir is listed as a Vietnamese player. Is he actually like living in Vietnam or?
Oh no, no.
NA,
Okay,
or-
so he's a Vietnamese national living in Latvia.
So he's playing on EU ping.
Yep, EU ping.
Oh.
Didn't think anyone would actually believe it, so we actually announced him as South African the first time. We thought it was more believable. Also, just looking at chat there, I do enjoy horse sashimi. It is very nice. I'd recommend it to anyone if you go to Japan.
Interesting.
That is
All right.
But
Fantastic note to end it on.
That's like, thank you for the meme questions. Those were fantastic there at the end. But that's gonna wrap us up. So, Maid, why don't you let the listeners know where they can find you and the team on the social media?
You can find me at Maid_OW and find my team at Second Win GG. I think it's that. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry.
It's Second Win GG, yeah.
You know your socials.
I had to look it up.
And Kyle, where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me at Twitter at Kyle the Winner, WINNER, and then Twitch, same thing. I'll be streaming soonish.
Good. As always, we kind of do our Twitch follower sellout. So if you haven't hit that follow button, go ahead and hit that follow button. You will get a shout out on the next episode. If you are an audio listener, make an account. It's free. Come on over, hit that follow button. Always looking for the follows. If you don't have Twitch and you want to help out the show, stop by iTunes, throw a review up there. 1 star, 5 star, it doesn't matter. We'll read it. Just kind of keep it with under, a small novel. We've had that happen, and unfortunately we do read all of our reviews, so go easy on us, please. But other than that, you can find me at Thornrain on Twitter. You can find the show on Twitter at Blackwatch Report. There's no O in that report. You can email the show blackwatchreport@gmail.com and follow the show on Twitch at twitch.tv/blackwatchreport. We record our main show live Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Our intro music is an original piece by our very own Kyle Wynn. This has been a High Noon production. You can find all of our shows over at highnoonpodcast.com, and you can come and chat with all of the hosts over in the Discord at discord.me/highnoonpodcast. And with that, Blackwatch out.